right now, I look at your team, I look at the two teams, and I say to myself, what do you guys have better? Yes, you have a manager who has more experience, that it has more nuance to him in the game, in Antonio Conte. I'll give you that. When it comes to goalkeeper, I think Ramsdale has now tipped Hugo Lloris.
Oh, come on.
And this season, he's shown that he's a better goalkeeper overall. And I think Hugo Lloris, you might need to replace him in the long run.
I've got no doubt we have to, but to sit there and say Ramsdale is, better than Lloris now, that's going far too early here. You're going far too early. These last couple of games, you've been getting carried away already. Shall I tell you why I'm not scared? The reason why I'm not scared is when I look at Arsenal's recruitment, you done very well last summer, but it's still not enough. And I feel with Arsenal, whoever you're going to buy, regardless of whatever happens, I know many Arsenal fans feel like this, you're still not going to have enough players to be where you want to be. For me, if Arteta gets top 4, he should resign, because that's the best he can do at Arsenal under the current structure. And you can laugh, but many Arsenal fans would agree. Conte is known for winning. He knows how to handle big pressure games. He knows how to handle players psychologically, and that will be the difference. And that is why Tottenham will finish in the top 4, and why Arsenal, unfortunately for you guys, will be finishing outside of a Champions League place.
I'll tell you this right now. At this moment,
we already had your prediction.
I'll tell you this right now. Not even about the prediction. When you talk about Mikel Arteta will have a greater legacy at Arsenal than Antonio Conte has in the Premier League by the time he's done.
So, Tottenham Hotspur versus Arsenal, North London derby, biggest game of the season. Here we go.
Biggest game of the season for you, not for us.
Well,
let's be honest, guys. Us beating Leeds was more important than this North London derby, because if we didn't beat Leeds, we would be going into this game with a 1-point advantage. Now that we beat Leeds, it puts all the pressure on you. You're the one that has to worry. I'm just sitting back, relaxing. I go to that North London derby. I know the pressure's on Tottenham, and you guys got to be the ones coming over and giving it to us. Where we're coming to your house to ruin your party, to ruin your season, to end your season. Where you guys just need to try to prolong it. It's two different things right now, man.
Well, I think for Tottenham, when you look at where Spurs were when Conte came in, and you look at obviously where he's progressed the team individually and collectively, Spurs are to be involved in a Champions League battle. I don't think anyone saw that coming when you saw the way Spurs started the season. I think for Arsenal, gradually under Arteta, you've seen that progression. Yeah. But I think it's still it's an inexperienced squad that has shown this season when the pressure is truly on them, as it has been recently, and they've responded well, they do buckle under pressure.
Calling the kettle black.
I'm just being honest with you. This is a young team. I'm a Spurs fan, and I'm going to...
Your history.
I know our history, but I've seen Spurs in these last 15, 20 years. There's been an upward trajectory of where the club is going.
Okay.
This club have been a low club. They have progressed. They're a club that have been, competing for a top 5. They've been in the Champions League. They're trying to get back there. They've hired one of the best managers in the world in Antonio Conte, with the ambition to be back amongst the best again.
Let me ask you this.
With Arsenal, under Mikel Arteta, it's an inexperienced rookie coach that, although he has won the FA Cup, and that was a good achievement for Arsenal, you are in unknown territory right now, and you are going to be severely tested in these remaining games of the season.
Let me tell you something. Tottenham Hotspur, right now, the last 3 games remaining are like cup finals. And we know what you guys do in cup finals. You guys tend to bottle it. So in my opinion, Arsenal have been doing this for a while. We've been considering every single game a cup final up until here. Business end of the season. I don't care about certain things. I know Tottenham, and I know their history. They're going to find a way when things, and it's going to just happen again. You know that song we sing? It happens again. It's going to happen again. Don't worry. Tottenham Hotspur. It's just going to happen again. But right now, let me talk about what you just said about Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte, if he gets his Spurs side to finish ahead of Arsenal, in my opinion, this would be the greatest achievement he's ever had in his career. Take away league titles, take away everything. I genuinely believe this would be the greatest achievement, because let's be honest, your Tottenham team has no right to be in this top 4 battle. I think this Tottenham team is poor. I think this.
Hold on a second. I must stop you there. This Tottenham team is poor. You look at this Tottenham team. They've got Hugo Lloris in goal, one of the best goalkeepers.
Stop right there. Hugo Lloris. Did you see him versus Wolves?
We can pick out subjective games, but Lloris over the course of the last 5 to 10 years has proven himself to be one of the best goalkeepers in the world. You got QT Romero, centre back that's coming in the summer, has been absolutely phenomenal.
Let me stop you right there. Let's just do this right now.
Okay.
You guys love to do this. Over the last couple of years, when you guys had this great team where you guys were competing in the Champions League and in the league at the same time with Pochettino, you kept saying, "Oh, combined 11, Arsenal, Spurs. No Arsenal players gets in." Well, what about now, buddy? What about?
Well, I think I'm going to be honest with you. We can do that, but I'm going to be honest. I think Arsenal this season have shown themselves collectively. They've been better as a team. Although Spurs, for me, have got better individual players. So I'm happy to give you a combined team if you want to do a combined team. But I know that if Tottenham turn up, that I know they can do on Thursday evening, and those 11 players put out there perform, each and every one of them, they'll win the game. There's no doubt about that. However good Arsenal will play, if Tottenham Hotspur plays their absolute maximum and every player plays their absolute maximum, Arsenal haven't got a chance. In that stadium, the first time Tottenham got a full crowd in for a North London derby. I should have said London derby because, to be honest, you did try and steal our patch all those years ago. So really, Woolwich, you are really from, you would probably say South London rather than North London. We can go there if you want, but I'm being honest with you, that stadium will be rocking on Thursday night. And you're right, Spurs go in there under pressure. But if I'm being honest with you, we've seen with Tottenham, Spurs can't handle pressure when it's on them. So maybe it's better with the pressure off them.
Let me tell you something. Right now, I look at your team, I look at the two teams, and I say to myself, what do you guys have better? Yes, you have a manager who has more experience, that it has more nuance to him in the game, in Antonio Conte. I'll give you that. When it comes to goalkeeper, I think Ramsdale has now tipped Hugo Lloris.
Oh, come on.
And this season, he's shown that he's a better goalkeeper overall. And I think Hugo Lloris, you might need to replace him in the long run.
I've got no doubt we have to, but to sit there and say Ramsdale is, better than Lloris now, that's going far too early here. You're going far too early. These last couple of games, you've been getting carried away already.
Okay.
Getting far too carried away.
Okay. Maybe I'm getting carried away, but let's go through the rest of the team. Your defense. Do you trust your defense? I feel like I can trust my defense. I feel like your defense.
Yeah, you sure about that? You sure about that?
Emerson Royale, when you have guys like Doherty, and I'm sorry, he's injured. I forgot about that. He's been looking good actually. He's a big miss.
Yeah, he's a big miss.
And then you have Romero.
QT Romero, one of the best centre backs I would argue say in world football. Liverpool found out the weekend how good he was, as his manager City recently.
He's decent. He's decent.
What do you get in your team?
He's looking average.
What do you get in your team?
Looked average at the beginning. He's starting to
What do you get in your team?
He wasn't good enough to even play in the last North London derby.
Is that the one you bottled and you ran away from?
No.
That's the one you ran away from. You didn't want to turn up, right? Just to confirm, you called that game off. You didn't want to turn up for the North London derby. You didn't fancy it.
North London derby was the one you guys ran out.
Well, the last one was the one that was scheduled for, as we know, back in November, December. And you didn't turn up for it.
You guys ran out of that Emirates at halftime. Your fans left. We couldn't even see you guys.
Listen, let me.
You know what happened that last time? The last time when we seen you guys, Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. Was chanted.
We can go there. We can go. I'll remind you of the start of Arsenal's seasons. 3 defeats on the bounce. Everyone was calling for Arteta's head. Spurs had Nuno in charge at the time. And do you know what the difference with Tottenham is? Tottenham knew under Nuno it wasn't going to work, and they changed it. Spurs are being ambitious. They've gone for one of the best managers in the world, in Antonio Conte, because Spurs have ambition. That's what eats you up, I think. You look at Arsenal for a second. Under Arteta, you've just given the guy a 3-year contract. You've just given the guy a longer-term contract. He hasn't done anything yet. He has not done anything yet.
Let me stop you right there. First of all, what was your name? I didn't get that. What was your name? I'm joking. Tottenham Hotspur are always going to be that team where whenever things buckle, it's just going to come down.
How can you say that as an Arsenal fan in the recent years?
And finally, bringing it back to full circle. The reason why I was going through your team, I only believe you're better in the higher end of the table. When it comes to when you're facing teams like Liverpool and City, you guys are much better in those games. When you know why you're better in those games, because you can counterattack and you can be clinical with your team. Yeah. And you guys have been very clinical. And the difference between Tottenham and Arsenal, we are a well-run team. We're a well-run unit that has continuity and consistency throughout our squad. Where you guys are you're a two-man team. You're a team where if Kane and Son don't deliver, your whole team's done, dead and buried. in my opinion.
Well, I think that's fair because we haven't got another player.
The reason why I asked your name is because when it comes to Tottenham, they don't have a name in the England game. In the English game, when you look at Tottenham, they have teams like Huddersfield who have more league titles than them. They don't have.
Come on.
And when you say, "Oh, Tottenham recently," what have you?
Come on, this is an Arsenal side that have finished below Spurs for 5 of the last 6 seasons. We've got to be real here for a second. You've got to know your level. But Spurs are building. This is the whole point. Spurs are building. You got to remember that. You grew up watching Arsenal win titles. Admittedly, as a Spurs fan,
you brought up titles.
Ironic. Listen, admittedly, I've not seen that, but I've seen with Spurs a steady progression and an ambition to try and be a club that wants to be challenging amongst the elite. They've got an elite manager in Antonio Conte. Of course, it's down to whether they're going to back him. I think the question we should be asking each other is really, we know it's a massive game. We know how big it is for both clubs. But I think what's key is one of these clubs isn't going to make the top 4. So therefore, it'd be good to know, if either of us don't make that top 4, how does that impact the club moving forward? Because I think for Tottenham, I think it's pivotal under Antonio Conte, they get the top 4. Because as a club, Conte wants to attract the best players. He wants to, I believe, win titles at Tottenham. I'm going to bring that word up again. I know it's ironic, a Spurs fan talk about titles, but I think under Conte, he's won 5 of the last 7 titles wherever he's been. So he's a man who's a winner and he knows what it takes to win. And I think with Tottenham as a club now, they've got the stadium, they've got the training ground, they have got, whether you like to believe it or not, you can tell yourself otherwise and be deluded, they have got some world-class players. It's now building around that nucleus and actually believing in themselves that they can challenge. And under Antonio Conte, they can. It's now, for me, crucial that Tottenham make that top 4 because to keep Conte, to bring the right players in, to progress the club, I feel with Arsenal, although you've won the FA Cup under Arteta, if we're going to be honest about it, your fans have chopped and changed every week. 1 minute you're singing Arteta's song, the next week you want him out. You've got to be realistic. For Arsenal, I think you've got to
stop you right there.
Are desperate for top 4.
Stop you right there. How embarrassing is it? A team with 2 world-class players can't even get top 4 over little old Arsenal, who's rebuilding right now and has a team full of youngsters. How embarrassing!
Yeah, but we're 6 months into we're 6 months into a project here. We're 6 months into a project. Arteta's been with Arsenal how long?
Project. We gave you a 9-point lead at the beginning of the season. And we still found a way to finish. We're going to finish above you. We're still going to.
You sure about that? You sound a bit unsure there.
Listen, we gave you a 9-point advantage, and in that time, since game week 4, we somehow have now not only caught up to you, but overtaken you and superseded you. You guys had a situation where you were in front of us with games in hand. What happened was you guys found out you were behind us by the end you played your games in hand. It just goes to show that Tottenham Hotspur, you were numerous times in this driving seat for top 4, just like we were. But every single time you guys were in the driving seat, you bottled it, and we find ourselves back in the driving seat. And I think simply because we have a team that is really working together, and the character in this team, and the fact that we're doing things the right way. You're saying you're in a project. You are trying to hold on to the final fabrics of your great Tottenham team. We are building back from the scratch.
But what have you got there? I mean, if we're being honest about it, looking at the squad, I'm not being rude in terms of you've got some really good youngsters coming through, but Lacazette, he's going to go. You lost Aubameyang. You're now relying on Eddie Nketiah, who's got a few months left of his contract. Eddie Nketiah scare.
Not Eddie Nketiah. Doesn't it scare you that this team that is in such a massive rebuild and doing such a massive overhaul and is basically being getting top 4 with Eddie Nketiah as our striker and Lacazette, who's only scored 4 goals. Eddie Nketiah only scored 4 goals. Once we get in a proper striker, once we get in another proper midfielder, once we get in backup fullbacks and we have squad depth, aren't you scared that this Tottenham team that you're trying to string together with glue and tape is just you're just covering over cracks?
Shall I tell you why I'm not scared? Shall I tell you why I'm not scared? The reason why I'm not scared is when I look at Arsenal's recruitment, you done very well last summer, but it's still not enough. And I feel with Arsenal, whoever you're going to buy, regardless of whatever happens, and I know many Arsenal fans feel like this, you're still not going to have enough players to be where you want to be. For me, if Arteta gets top 4, he should resign because that's the best he can do at Arsenal under the current structure. And you can laugh, but many Arsenal fans would agree. Many Arsenal fans would agree that if Arteta was to get top 4, that is the biggest achievement that he can do at Arsenal Football Club under the current structure.
That's not
100%.
True.
Well, what's he going to do?
You want to
tell me what he can do. Tell me what else he can do.
He's done more than Tottenham Hotspur have done over the last 20 years, which is he won an actual trophy.
Well,
Arsenal already. That's one. 2, he's going to possibly get top 4. So when you're talking about achievements, it's rich coming from you. Wouldn't you die for a FA Cup win from Antonio Conte? Wouldn't you kill for one of those major honors in the domestic league? Wouldn't you love your club to actually lift the trophy and see armpits for once? You would love that. I know you would. But hey, you're going to take shots. Let me tell you one thing. When you're looking at our 2 managers, who's most likely to leave? It's Antonio Conte, my friend. The reason why Antonio Conte is most likely to leave, there's been uncertainty during this season with him. We know Antonio Conte doesn't stay for long, and his contract is already running down. He has a short contract. The reason why we gave Arteta a 3-year deal and not a 5-year deal is because that is ambitious. That still puts pressure on the manager. We're Tottenham, even if Antonio does not get top 4, you can't sack him because you want to know why? He's bigger than your club.
Well, listen, Holland, you say Arteta, that's ambitious. I mean, someone said it's probably delusional. You're talking about a manager there that hasn't achieved, bar an FA Cup, anything really in the game. And yet, Arsenal, a club that were used to winning titles, and are handing out a contract to somebody that's still yet to get into the top 4. If we're going to be honest and real here, Conte, when he's faced the big managers, the likes of Klopp and Guardiola, he's got results. Admittedly, Spurs are struggled against the lower teams because, as you know, they deploy that low block. It's very hard to break teams down. Arsenal have beaten the teams you expect Arsenal to beat. However, this Thursday, it's a completely different game they're coming up against. They're coming up against a Spurs side managed by Antonio Conte that knows how to win big games, that knows how to set teams up tactically to get big results, as he has shown.
This season, Tottenham versus Liverpool, 4 points. 2 points. Versus Man City, you got 6 points.
You got a draw, obviously, fair.
You beat City, you got 6 points. Liverpool, you got...
With 6 out of 6 against City.
Okay, so in those games, you got 8 points. Big up. Against the 2 best teams, you got that. But how did you do against the rest? You got slapped.
That's a big word, slapped. I mean, Spurs are still going into the top 4 on the last few weeks of the season.
You got beat by Chelsea 4 times this season. You got beat by Manchester United, the worst Manchester United side in years, twice this season. Am I mistaken?
You're not right, but out of all this, what you're saying, look at the difference where Spurs and Arsenal are on the table. We're not talking about a million miles of points here.
This is my point. You can beat Man City and Liverpool because they play to your strengths. But when you face other teams, you guys don't beat the team that you're supposed to beat. This is the difference between us and you. This season, we might not have beaten the top 6 teams, but we did double over West Ham, double over Wolves, double over these teams, and this is what you're supposed to do to get top 4. We've shown the consistency this season, and I believe we have shown the improvements and the adequate.
Are you also meant to lose at home to Brighton and also lose to Southampton, or is that just part of the Premier League?
You know what? You do win and lose games, just like you guys have gotten slapped by Crystal Palace also this season. If you forget,
you got slapped as well, though, right?
Hey, we lost a close game.
But I mean, both teams, we know. Both teams are massively inconsistent. Both teams 100%. Are in the process of rebuilding, right? But when you look at what Spurs have got in terms of players, I still genuinely believe that if Spurs, the Tottenham, I know that they can play to their maximum, like the Liverpool game, like City. If Tottenham turn up and play that the way they can, Arsenal, regardless of the 11 they put out, regardless of their performance, they will not stand a chance on the night.
The pressure is on you. And understand, Arsenal have to go into this game, and even if we somehow get a loss in this game,
so it's already crossed your mind. You're already thinking about it.
Even
it's crossed your mind though, right? You're already thinking about it.
I'm just looking at
you've brought it up.
Even somehow, if that happens, you still have to win all your games. And this season, can you say you have been consistent against the lower half of the table?
No, but I think Arsenal can also say the same thing. They haven't been to a certain degree,
so
but Arsenal have still got. Spurs have to win. Spurs have to win. And there's no excuse on that. And
so if you
we
lose,
know that.
It's embarrassing.
Well, listen, I think, yes, it is embarrassing to lose to this Arsenal side with this manager. Yeah, it's massively embarrassing. To lose to this Arsenal side with this manager would be embarrassing. And I'm prepared this is going to get clipped now, so I'll be absolutely done up for saying this. But at the same time, this Arsenal side, for me, they have shown under Arteta that they're willing to learn. As we've seen, he's got rid of the dissenting voices, like Aubameyang. He's obviously...
You kind of like these players, don't lie. You kind of... It's the first time in your life you probably...
I don't like it. No, I don't like any Arsenal manager. I don't like any Arsenal team. But I can see a resemblance of what Pochettino had when he walked into Tottenham, where he had to remove some of the dissenting voices and bring together a young group. I still believe Tottenham...
the signs of improvement, and you still...
maybe I see the signs of improvement to some degree, but Arsenal will never be the Arsenal that I feared 15 years ago, because this Arsenal side will never win a title under Mikel Arteta. They will not. Regardless, they will not.
If we're talking about Tottenham never winning a title, maybe you could do that. But when it comes to Arsenal, never say never. We do have the financial.
Well, I am saying never. I'm saying never under this current manager. I'm saying never.
We do have the financial clout to get up there. And when it comes to this season, guess what? You asked the question earlier, what does it mean to get top 4? This is detrimental to us if we don't get it. In my opinion, if we don't get top 4, what will happen is we will absolutely mess up our rebuild, and it will go to another stage where we're going to have to continue to rebuild. I personally feel like we need this top 4 more than you, and that's why our players, everyone believes and is working together to get it. Where you guys, even if you don't get it, there's no pressure on Antonio.
I disagree. I think Spurs need that top 4 to keep Conte, to attract. Absolutely, there's pressure. You know, Spurs as a club, they want to be playing in the Champions League. They've got one of the best stadiums in the world.
What gives you the right to be saying you have to be playing in the Champions League? Tottenham.
What gives Arsenal the right to be saying they have to be playing in the Champions League?
Listen, Arsenal are the 3rd biggest club in England, where Tottenham Hotspur, you can't even say you're the 5th.
But how embarrassing is that for you guys that, you know, you're at this level now competing? You know, Arsenal should be a club that should be challenging for titles, and you're not. And the reality is now that Spurs, there was a time when this wasn't even a conversation, Tottenham and Arsenal, and it's now become one of the biggest games of the season for Arsenal, when, if we're honest about it, in the past, it was more of an irrelevance playing Spurs, because Spurs were so far down the table, you wouldn't even look to see where Tottenham are. Now it's become relevant again because Spurs have improved, and gradually, year upon year, they've got better. Yes, Spurs have faltered. Yes, they're in the middle of a rebuild, but they have still got one of the best managers in the world. They've got some of the best players in the world, and Spurs are in the midst of trying to get back to where they want to be. Being back in the Champions League, compete at the highest level. As I said earlier, Conte has won 5 titles in his last 7 seasons wherever he's been. The man is a winner. And from that basis, Conte is not coming to Tottenham to win a League Cup, to win an FA Cup, to win the Europa Conference League. Conte is coming to Tottenham because he generally feels that he could potentially win a league with Tottenham in time. And what's key is getting that top 4 this season and giving the man the funds in order so he can go out there, attract the right players, and build a side that can compete, which isn't easy with Liverpool and City. But under Conte, anything's possible. The results have shown that.
You don't believe... okay, first of all, Antonio Conte is actually bigger than Tottenham at this point because he's won more leagues.
Well, he's one man, and Tottenham are a football club, and Tottenham have got a rich history. He's a wonderful manager.
My point is what he's done. He's such a great manager, and what he's accomplished in his career that Tottenham Hotspur cannot put any pressure on.
So why come to Tottenham? I'm asking you, why has he come to Tottenham?
He came to Tottenham because he probably believed he could do something with it. But in my opinion, he is most likely going to leave before the end of his tenure. This relationship with Tottenham, with Antonio Conte, is not going to end with him lifting any trophies. It's not going to end with him accomplishing anything. You most likely, this year, he's not going to finish in the top 4, and you're probably going to end up losing him, and you're going to have to end up getting another rebuild and start from scratch. And the whole reason why I feel like this hurts you guys the most is because you had a team that was challenging for the league, and you ended up finishing 3rd in a 2-horse race with you and Leicester. And now, after all those years of having this great Tottenham team that you thought was better than everything, and there was a power shift in London. You want to know something?
But that power shift hasn't changed. You know, Spurs have still finished above Arsenal for 5 of the last 6 seasons.
Even finishing above us all those times, you've never accomplished anything. In the record books, they're not going to look back and say, oh, Tottenham finished 5 times ahead of Arsenal. They're going to look back and say, Arsenal got FA Cups, Arsenal won trophies still, Arsenal were in a Champions League, we're in an FA Cup, we're in a Europa League final. But
Arsenal fans, your mood is up and down every week. You are laughed, you are heckled at.
The only thing Tottenham will be remembered for under Pochettino and this whole golden era was that you got to a Champions League final and bottled it. That's it.
But you're saying bottled. I mean, Arsenal, to be fair, you know, although you're on a good run at the moment, you've bottled several parts of this season, primarily the start. We're going to see, because I honestly believe Thursday night, when Spurs beat Arsenal in that North London derby, we're really going to see if Arsenal can handle that pressure. You've got some tough games to come.
Prediction? You think Arsenal is going to come to?
Listen, I think Arsenal will get beat on Thursday night, and I think when you look at the remaining fixtures to come, Arsenal have got a very difficult away fixture against Newcastle. Newcastle are a club now that generally believe, under their ownership, that they can fight for big things. Maybe not next season, but they're on their way to believing that. So if Newcastle have that right investment in the summer, they're going to go again. So every player is playing for their future. Every player.
Guys, listen to this. He needs Newcastle to end our season. We don't need Newcastle to end our season.
It's in your hands. So we're going to see how Arsenal are going to do this.
We don't need Newcastle. We don't need Everton to help us.
I mean, listen, you really messed up Leeds at the weekend with 10 men. Let's be real about this.
We don't need other teams to do anything for us. It's in our hands.
You're confident about those hands, right?
It's in our grasp. And in my opinion, I could literally end your season in the next game. End your season in the next.
You
game.
could.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to that North London derby, and we're gonna end your season. That's what it is. And in my opinion, Arsenal's gonna go to that North London derby. But Bukayo Saka and these guys have said it themselves. Arsenal don't need any motivation. The fact that it's Tottenham in this top 4 race is motivation enough. We're gonna go into that North London derby. We're gonna beat you guys, and the way we're gonna do it, you want to know how we're gonna do it?
Yeah, I'm interested now. How you gonna do it?
We're gonna get a 2-goal lead. You're gonna probably try to peg one back, and then Arteta's gonna tactically outclass your manager and Antonio Conte, and he's gonna put on Rob Holding, end off the game with that 5-3-2, and that's how we're gonna set up. And you know what?
So Rob Holding's gonna be the tactical masterclass for stopping Tottenham.
Hey, if you guys had that tactics, maybe you'd win more games. I don't know. We'll see.
So you can give us a prediction?
My prediction is a 2-1 Arsenal win.
So you think you're going to come to Tottenham and you're going to clinch the Champions League place?
I would absolutely love it, and I think it's going to happen.
I'm going to tell you, Spurs are going to beat Arsenal, and I generally do believe that with that momentum of that game, Spurs will have, in those final 2, the belief, the strength to go on and finish in that top 4.
But let me ask you this: if Arsenal win, that ends your season. Am I wrong?
Well, it ends the Premier League. It ends Tottenham finishing in the top 4. But I think Spurs, as a whole, as I said, when you look at where Spurs were when Conte first took over, any form of European football probably looked really unlikely. But I'm not going to sit here and say it would not be devastating. It would be to lose. Do you know what hurts me more? Obviously, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to get triggered about it. But losing the Champions League spot to Arsenal, this Arsenal side, under this Arsenal manager, hurts a lot more than losing to any side. I can accept losing to Man United because they got, on their day, quality players. And I look at other teams, around them, essentially. There's nobody else that I would say are better than what Spurs are at the moment around them, bar Man United, in terms of the squad they've got. But to lose it to you guys, I look at the manager who, again, has shown this season some resilience, but I look at the squad who I still feel are learning. It would kill me, and that's why we won't lose. We will beat Arsenal on Thursday night.
It's not going to kill you. What it's going to do is going to demoralize your team. It's going to demoralize them, and it's going to end their season. You're going to then go on to drop more points. In my opinion, I'm just going to end it off in a nice way from my pen. I think Arsene Wenger said it perfectly. There's never.
You're quoting Arsene Wenger now, yeah? You wanted him out for how many years?
No. Let me speak. There's never been a power shift. As long as I can remember, there's been 4 miles and 13 and 12 league titles between us. So you need to bridge that gap before we start talking.
But I'm not going to run my mouth. All I'm going to say to you is that from a Spurs perspective, under this manager, with the group of players they've got, if Spurs play to their absolute maximum, like I know they can, that have shown several times this season, that in the big games where they've had to turn up, Spurs have got results. So I am going to say Spurs will beat Arsenal on Thursday night. I'm going to say Spurs are going to beat them 2-1. It will be a tense game, but Spurs will get the job done. And I want to see how Arsenal mentally cope in those final 2 games. Because for me, I think you're in unknown territory. You're a young, inexperienced side with a young, inexperienced manager that you don't know where your head's going to be at. Conte is known for winning. He knows how to handle big pressure games. He knows how to handle players psychologically. And that will be the difference. And that is why Tottenham will finish in the top 4. And why Arsenal, unfortunately for you guys, will be finishing outside of a Champions League place.
I'll tell you this right now. At this moment,
we already had your prediction.
I'll tell you this right now. Not even about the prediction. When you talk about Mikel Arteta will have a greater legacy at Arsenal than Antonio Conte has in the Premier League by the time he's done.